The following is a slightly historical series on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms era of China's history. Because this is based off of a video game, and myself playing it, there will be a lot of incorrect information that we will correct using the help of Wikipedia. For those of you who want to learn more about Dynasty Warriors, or the Romance of the Three Kingdoms era, I suggest reading the book. Please enjoy the following presentation. Oh, let me put my schoolboy uniform on. Because we're learning today. This is going to be a big episode, and one that I didn't want to do right away, because we have to play as Sun Quan to unlock other characters down the line, which is a little annoying. And they also made Sun Jian the guy who had 8 missions, because the Wei and Shu, you know, they have Liu Bei for Shu and Cao Cao for Wei. They each have 8 missions. And that's because they're the leaders of their respective kingdoms. I thought they were going to do that for Sun Quan, but they actually did that for Sun Jian, even though he's supposed to die very early on. He dies when Sun Quan is 9 years old. So I already did the Sun Jian episode, and I didn't really talk much during it because he was supposed to be dead for a lot of that history, and I don't like explaining the history if the person we're playing as is not supposed to be there. On the other side of the coin, though, we have Sun Quan that I wanted to do last for the Wu family because he was the one that led them into the Kingdom of Wu, the Three Kingdoms, and, you know, was still the leader even after the game ends. But I need to play as Sun Quan in order to unlock Sun Ce, and I need to play as Sun Ce in order to unlock his wife, who is the sister of Xiao Qiao, Da Qiao, which I'm just going to combine those two girls into one episode because they have nothing going for them, really. So it's a little annoying, and I'm playing as Sun Quan a lot earlier than I wanted to, but he's still a really great character. He has a lot to learn about him. The son of Sun Jian, he is a natural leader and is constantly striving to improve himself to surpass his legendary father and brother. The records of the Three Kingdoms mentioned that Sun Jian was a descendant of Sun Wu, better known as Sun Tzu, a militarist in the spring and autumn period, and the author of The Art of War. Which, a side note, The Art of War is an okay book, but 90% of it is just use critical thinking. Whoa, revolutionary! Which, I mean, probably was at the time. Sun Quan was born in 182 while his father Sun Jian was still a low-ranking official of the Han Dynasty. He was the second son of Sun Jian and his wife, Lady Wu. He had 2 younger full brothers, Sun Yi and Sun Quan, and a younger sister whose identity is unrecorded, but we played as her earlier, Sun Shangjiang, which is largely a fabrication. In 184, 2 years after Sun Quan was born, the Yellow Turban Rebellion, led by Zhang Jue, broke out across the country. Sun Jian joined the general Zhu Jun to quell the rebellion and allocated his family to stay in Shouchun. When Sun Quan's elder brother Sun Ce met Zhou Yu in 189, Sun Ce decided to take his mother, Lady Wu, and younger brothers to Shu County, Zhou Yu's hometown. There, the Sun family became acquainted with Zhou Yu. Let me just do this too.
Sun Quan, Sun Quan.
So they say Sun Quan here in this game. I've been saying Sun Quan because that's how they pronounce it in like Dynasty Warriors 8, but it's actually Sun Chun. Sun Chun, which is a little strange. After Sun Jian's death in 191, when Sun Quan was 9 years old, the Sun family moved again to Jiangdu in order to mourn him. 2 years later, Sun Ce decided to join Yuan Shu's army, so he ordered Lu Fan to take his family members to his maternal uncle Wu Jing's home in Danyang. However, Liu Yao, the governor of Yang, became angry when Sun Ce and Yuan Shu defeated Liu Kang, the administrator of Lujiang, in 194. He felt worried that they would attack him further, so he drove Wu Jing away from Danyang. Since Sun Quan and his mother were still in Liu Yao's territory, Zhu Shi sent people to rescue them. Sun Quan and his mother moved to Fuling later. When Sun Ce defeated Liu Yao in 195, he ordered Chen Bao to bring his family back to Danyang. As Sun Quan grew up, he served his brother during the conquests of the region south of the Yangtze River, so we might actually start with the battle for Wu territory, which in other storyline so far, we've seen that Sun Quan gets himself surrounded, probably because of his inexperience. He was 14 at the time, and continued to rise through the ranks as his brother gave him more and more important tasks. Since he was passionate about gathering the retainers like Pan Zhang and Zhou Tai, his fame soon approached his father and elder brother. So let's jump right in and see how it goes.
My name is Sun Quan. I entered this world as the second son of the powerful Sun family from Jian. But all too quickly, I have become my family's leader.
Alright, so it looks like we are skipping the battles of Wu territory, because again, he does have a lot of important battles that he leads and is a part of, which is why I thought he was going to have the 8 missions, but we know how that went. So let me continue. He was loved by his brother Sun Ce, who said that he would put his men under Sun Quan's management in the future. In 199, Sun Quan was promoted to the rank of colonel and followed his brother to conquer Lu Jian and Yu Zhang. While Cao Cao attempted to further reinforce the alliance with Sun Ce, both Sun Quan and his younger brother Sun Yi were invited to be officials in Zhuchang, but they refused. Sun Ce was assassinated in the year 200 during a hunt. On his deathbed, he knew that his son was still too young to be considered a realistic heir, so he entrusted the 18-year-old Sun Quan to be his faithful subordinate, or to his faithful subordinates. Initially, Sun Quan mourned his brother's death so much that he could not stop crying, but at Zhang Zhao's behest, he dressed himself in military uniform and set out to visit the commanderies under his brother's control. Many of Sun Ce's subordinates thought that Sun Quan was too young to sustain Sun Ce's domain and wanted to leave. Particularly, Li Shu, the administrator of Lujiang, defected to Cao Cao. Sun Quan wrote a letter to Cao Cao to state Li Shu's crime, then headed his troops to defeat Li Shu and regain Lujiang. Zhang Zhao and Zhou Yu saw special qualities in the young man and chose to stay to serve Sun Quan. Zhang Hong, whom Sun Ce had earlier sent as a liaison to the warlord Cao Cao, also returned from Cao's domain to assist Sun Quan. At Zhang Hong's request, Cao Cao, in the name of Emperor Jian, who was controlled by Cao Cao at the time, commissioned Sun Quan as General Who Attacks Barbarians, a title under which he would be known for a long time. He listened carefully to his mother Lady Wu's encouraging words and greatly trusted Zhang Zhao and Zhang Hong with regard to civilian affairs, and Zhou Yu, Cheng Pu, and Lu Fan with regard to military matters. Sun Quan also sought out young, talented men to serve as his personal advisors, and it was around the same time that he befriended Lu Su and Zhu Geijin, who would later play prominent roles in his administration. In addition, Lu Jun, Bu Ji, Gu Yong, Shi Yan, Yan Ju, Shu Zhang, and Zhu Huan also became his men. Throughout this period and decades to come, Sun Quan's leadership would be characterized by his ability to find men of character and entrust important matters to him, and his ability to react swiftly to events.
Both my father and brother passed away before their time. Thus I have become the head of the family, with no time even to mourn their passing. It is up to me to continue their legacy. My brother once told me that I was destined for greatness, and now I must honor him by living up to his words.
My lord, we must continue your father's will and raise the Sun family banner in triumph across the land. I, Zhou Yu, shall strive to serve you to the best of my abilities. First, we should go and seek our revenge on Huang Zu for the death of Sun Jian. We shall show the land that the strength of the Sun family has only become greater with time.
For the next several years, Sun Quan was largely interested in expanding against the Shanyue hill tribes, which controlled the most southern part of China and outside the reach of the Han government. In order to ensure his realm, Sun Quan launched numerous campaigns against the Shanyue, which I guess is that one battle where we fight Meng Huo, but we don't actually fight Meng Huo, we just fight the tribes in southern China, which kind of makes sense, but if we have that battle, we'll get to it. But it looks like we're skipping that battle, because in 206 he conquered the fortress of Shanyue in Matun and Baodun and captured more than 10,000 men. Furthermore, he gradually sought to harass and weaken Liu Biao's key subordinate Huang Zhu. particularly because Huang Zhu had killed his father in battle. He made war on Huang Zhu twice in 203 and 207. In 208, he was finally able to defeat and kill Huang Zhu in battle.
Huang Zhu anticipated our attack and has taken up a defensive position within Shako. Such a cowardly individual as him is no match for my lord. Now, let's go to battle.
I've been waiting for this moment. Huang Zhu, face me! And face revenge for the man that you killed! Thanks to all of you, we have defeated Huang Zhu and secured the lands of Yuan Shao. My father and brother would be proud of us all. Now is the time to show our strength. Using these lands that father and brother worked so hard to establish as a base, we must further expand the territory of Wu. I have killed the wretched Huang Zhu, thus taking my family one step closer to ruling this land. Father, brother, please guide us as we proceed down this ambitious path.
As a result of killing Huang Zhu in battle, he obtained most of the territory of Jiangxia. Soon after, Liu Biao died while Cao Cao was preparing a major campaign to subjugate both Liu Biao and Sun Quan under his control, precipitating a major confrontation. At the end of 208, after Liu Biao's death, a succession struggle for his domain came into being between his sons Liu Qi and his younger son Liu Kong, whom Liu Biao's second wife, Lady Cai, favored because he had married her niece. After Huang Zhu's death, Liu Qi was therefore given Huang's post as governor of Jiangxia, Commandery. Liu Cong therefore succeeded Liu Biao after his death, and Liu Qi was displeased and considered but did not carry out an attack against his brother. Nevertheless, Liu Cong, in fear of having to fight Cao Cao and his brother on two fronts, surrendered to Cao Cao against the advice of Liu Biao's key ally, Liu Bei. Liu Bei, unwilling to submit to Cao Cao, fled south. Cao caught up to him and crushed his forces, but Liu Bei escaped with his life. He fled to Dangyang. Cao Cao took over most of Jing province and appeared set on finally unifying the empire. So now we're kind of getting a different perspective on how some of these things come to pass. So here we kill the dude who was in that area that caused Liu Bei to run away from that area, leading to that battle where Zhang Fei is on the bridge and, Cao Cao has to try to run them down and all that stuff. So seeing how things are interconnected like that is pretty cool. Sun Quan was well aware of Cao Cao's intentions, and he quickly entered into an alliance with Liu Bei and Liu Qi to prepare for an attack by Cao. Cao Cao wrote to Sun Quan with a letter intending to intimidate, and in face of Cao's overwhelming force, estimated to be about 220,000 men, although Cao claimed 800,000 against Sun's 30,000 and the Liu's combined force of 10,000. Many of Sun's subordinates, including Zhang Zhao, advocated surrender. Sun Quan refused, under advice from Zhou Yu and Lu Su that Cao Cao would surely not tolerate him even if he surrendered. Sun Quan put Zhou Yu in charge of his 30,000 men, largely stationed on naval ships, and Zhou set up defensive position in conjunction with Liu Bei, whose army was stationed on land. About this time, there was a plague developing in Cao Cao's forces which significantly weakened it. Zhou Yu set up a trap where he pretended to be punishing his subordinate Huang Gai, and Huang pretended to surrender to Cao Cao in fear.
Cao Cao is ahead of us in this race for power, and will probably attack our territory soon. He is dangerous, but Zhou Yu and I have decided to engage him in battle. We will also be assisted by Liu Bei, who has come to us on the run from Cao Cao. We will meet our common enemy, and etch the name of the Sun family into the annals of history.
From here, we shall join forces with Liu Bei and advance our armies to destroy our common enemy, Cao Cao. This battle will surely play a large part in determining the ruler of the land. In order to defeat Cao Cao's navy, we must utilize every strategy we have at our disposal. If everybody manages to carry out their part of the plan, then we will surely win. My lord, you must watch the battle from a central location and assist those who are trying to carry out their orders. We shall teach Cao Cao to fear the name of Wu. This battle has us treading in very dangerous waters. If we are to defeat Cao Cao's army, it is absolutely essential that you complete your missions. Men, this river shall guide us to our future!
It's time.
It also sucks because we didn't get this cutscene during Huang Gai's story. Because we were playing as Huang Gai and we couldn't board the boats and the fire attack just happened.
May the heavens bear witness. This fire burns with the spirit of Wu.
Oh, there it is.
Look, it's burning. Cao Cao, you underestimated the Sun family. Now burn for your folly. The great river of Jiangdong runs red with the blood of Cao Cao's fleet. Who could have predicted the results of this battle? They shall surely talk about the exploits of our fleet for generations to come. With this defeat, the strength of Cao Cao's army has surely been weakened. This is the chance we've been waiting for. We must put a stop to Cao Cao before he has time to regroup. By devastating Cao Cao's fleet at Chibi, we have managed to survive the greatest crisis of this chaos. News of our victory will surely spread to the far corners of the land.
Cao Cao's fleet was largely destroyed by fire. Cao Cao led his forces to escape on land, but much of the force was destroyed by Sun Quan and Liu Bei's land forces.
Following the battle, Liu Bei used our territory in Jing to launch an attack on Yi. He's a crafty one, all right. Now he wants us to help him strike Hefei.
Immediately after Cao Cao withdrew, Sun Quan took over the northern half of Jing. Liu Bei marched south and took over the southern half. The Sun-Liu alliance was further cemented by a marriage of Sun Quan's younger sister, Lady Sun, to Liu Bei. Zhou Yu was suspicious of Liu Bei's intentions, however, and suggested to Sun Quan that Liu be seized and put under house arrest, albeit very well treated, and his forces be merged into Sun's. Sun Quan, believing that Liu Bei's forces would rebel if he did that, declined. Sun Quan did agree to Zhou Yu's plans to consider attacking Liu Zhang and Zhang Lu, who controlled the modern southern Shanxi, to try to take over their territories, but after Zhou Yu died in 210, the plans were abandoned. However, Sun Quan was able to persuade the warlords in Jiao to submit to him, and they became part of his domain. He then yielded parts of northern Jing province to Liu Bei as well, agreeing with Liu that the south was insufficient to supply his troops. At the same time, Sun Quan appointed his subordinate Bu Ji as the inspector of Jiao province to replace Lai Gong. Shi Jie led his followers to submit to Bu Ji's governorship. Sun Quan took over the entire Jiao province. In 211, Sun Quan moved his headquarters from Dantu to the city of Moling, and in the next year he rebuilt the walls and renamed the city Jianye. This new location gave him better control of the Yangtze River and better communications with his various other commanders. He also constructed a fortress at Ruzhou, since Lu Meng anticipated an invasion there from Cao Cao. The invasion Lu Meng expected came at the start of 213. Sun Quan personally led the army there to resist Cao Cao and relied heavily on the fortresses Lu Meng built to give his soldiers strong positions from which to defend. At one point, Cao Cao tried to send his navy across the river to break Sun Quan's lines, but Sun Quan's own ships surrounded them and destroyed them. Due to the stalemate in the war, Sun Quan drove a big ship to enter the military camp of Cao Cao on the other side of the Yangtze to observe his enemy's situation. Cao Cao was very impressed with the military discipline of his opponent, so he said that he should have had a child like Sun Quan and didn't launch an attack on this occasion. Sun Quan ordered people to play music on the ship and returned to his camp safely. Ultimately, Lu Meng's defenses held, and Sun Quan wrote a letter to Cao Cao to warn that the spring rains would come a month later. Cao Cao had to take his advice and pull back. After Cao Cao's defeat at Ruzhou, many people along the Yangtze fled south to join Sun Quan, with the exception of Wan County and the immediate area. The region became abandoned in 214. Cao Cao sent a man named Zhu Guang to Wan County with orders to revitalize the region and bring it under Cao Cao's control. Zhu Guang began extensive agricultural projects, and he also stirred up bandits and malcontents into rebellion in Sun Quan's territory. Lu Meng feared that if Zhu Guang's programs were successful, it would make Cao Cao's hold in the area unbreakable, and urged for a campaign against Huan. Sun Quan followed Lu Meng's strategy and used the seasonal flooding to travel the city by boat, which allowed them to attack unexpectedly. Rather than a lengthy siege, Lu Meng, Gan Ning, and Ling Tong led a quick strike and broke Zhu Guang's defenses, capturing the city. After Liu Bei's conquest of Yi, he was able to supply his troops on his own, so Sun Quan sent Lu Su as an emissary to demand the return of Jing, but Liu Bei refused. Sun Quan then sent Lu Meng and Ling Tong to lead 20,000 men to attack southern Jing, and they succeeded in capturing Changsha, Guiyang, and Lingling commanderies. I think I accidentally skipped a little bit ahead in time. No, I didn't. So let me continue. Meantime, Lu Su and Gan Ning advanced to Yiyang with 10,000 men to block Guan Yu and took over command of the army at Lukou. Liu Bei personally went to Gong'an County, and Guan Yu led 30,000 men to Yiyang when an all-out war was about to break out. The news that Cao Cao planned to attack Hanzhong was received by Liu Bei, and he requested for border treaty with Sun Quan, and as he became worried about Cao Cao seizing Hanzhong. Liu Bei asked Sun Quan to give him back Lingling commandery and create a diversion for Cao Cao by attacking in Hefei, or Hefei. In return, Liu Bei ceded Changsha and Guiyang commanderies to Sun Quan, setting the new border along the Jiang River. Sun Quan's attack on Hefei was disastrous and nearly captured, but he was saved by Ling Tong.
It looks like he's still terrified of Cao Cao. Well, he's come to the right place for help. We're not afraid of Wei, and we'll fight them any way we can.
We will hereby invade the territory of Hefei, where Wei has stationed their forces. If we can obtain these lands, it will prove most beneficial in our struggle against Wei. Cao Cao is the one we are after. Additionally, we must watch out for Jian Liao, who's guarding Hefei. However, I don't see him anywhere. I wonder what's going on. Currently, the enemy is few and their defenses are thin. However, those that remain are veterans of many hard-fought battles. You must not underestimate the strength of their resolve.
Of course, because we are playing from Wu perspective, we are going to win this battle, but like I said,
Begin the advance.
the results of this battle were horrible and disastrous for Sun Quan.
You're no match for the strength and skill of Zhang Liao.
We have gained the right to rule this land. Although we were unable to kill Cao Cao, the Wei army will not soon forget the lesson we taught them in this battle.
Actually, it was the opposite. So like I said, this was a disastrous attack for Sun Quan's forces, and he was nearly even captured on one occasion,
Should we
saved by Ling Tong.
Cao Cao? Or perhaps we should break our alliance and attack Liu Bei. Or perhaps... Our next move will surely determine the fate of the land. We defeated Cao Cao again, but we were unable to gain any new territory. Now Wei is increasing their defenses by building a great castle in Hefei.
In 217, Cao Cao brought a massive army to attack Ruzhou again. Sun Quan personally led 70,000 men to defend the city, though he left actual command of the battle to Lu Meng. It was a furious campaign, and after several weeks of grueling battle, Lu Meng's defenses held and the spring floods forced Cao Cao to retreat once again. Still, this was not a complete victory. Most of Cao Cao's army was still intact, and he had a huge force under Zhao Hodun north of Sun Quan's position. This resulted in a stalemate in which, as long as Sun Quan kept his army in Ruzhou, Zhao Hodun could not hope to invade him, but as soon as Sun Quan pulled out, Zhao Hodun could break through. Also, Zhao Hodun's force was simply too large and too well entrenched to be driven away. Sun Quan had no military options, so he settled on a diplomatic solution. In 217, Sun Quan allied with Cao Cao, recognizing him as the legitimate representative of the Han central government. While officially this was a surrender, Cao Cao knew that Sun Quan would not be content with being treated like a subject, so he confirmed all the titles of Sun Quan had claimed for himself and formalized his control over the lands he held. Sun Quan was permitted to continue to rule independently, but was now officially one of Cao Cao's subordinates.
It was at this time that Cao Cao left this world. He was quickly replaced, however, by his son Cao Pi, who seems intent on restoring the kingdom's power. We must strike Wei again before it's too late. I am the son of a ferocious tiger, and I will take the central plains from the son of that snake, Cao Cao.
So it looks like we're going to skip ahead in time in the breaking of the alliance with Liu Bei. In 219, Guan Yu advanced north, attacking Fan Castle, scoring a major victory over Cao Ren. While Fan Chong did not fall at the time, Guan Yu put it under siege, and the situation was severe enough that Cao Cao considered moving the capital away from Zhou. However, Sun Quan, resentful of Guan Yu's prior constant instigation of hostilities, including seizing Sun's food supplies to use for his campaign, took the opportunity to attack Guan from the rear, and Guan's forces collapsed. Guan Yu was captured by the forces under Lu Meng and Jiang Qin. Guan Yu was executed. Jing province came under Sun's control, and the Sun-Liu alliance ended. Like we know from the Guan Yu episode, Guan Yu was pretty much a giant piece of shit to all of his subordinates and everyone around him, so he didn't get any help when this thing happened. After Cao Cao's death in 220, Cao Pi forced Emperor Jian to yield the throne, ending the Han dynasty and establishing the state of Cao Wei. Sun Quan did not immediately submit to Wei or declare independence after Cao Pi's enthronement, but took a wait-and-see attitude. By contrast, in early 221, Liu Bei declared himself emperor, establishing the state of the Shu Han. Immediately, Liu Bei planned a campaign against Sun Quan to avenge Guan Yu after attempting to... I hate how the sentences are like just really short, so I think it's a longer sentence, but I just read continuously. After attempting to negotiate peace and receiving no positive response from Liu Bei, fearing attack on both sides, Sun Quan became a vassal of Wei. Cao Pi's strategist Liu Ye suggested that Cao Pi decline and in fact attacked Sun Quan on a second front, effectively partitioning Sun's domain with the Shu, and then eventually seek to destroy Shu as well. Cao Pi declined, in a fateful choice that most historians believed doomed his empire to ruling only the northern and central China, and his chance would not come again. Indeed, against Liu Ye's advice, on the 23rd of September 2021, he appointed Sun Quan the King of Wu and granted him the 9 bestowments. In 222, at the Battle of Jiaoting, Sun Quan's general Lu Jun dealt Liu Bei a major defeat, stopping the Shu offensive. Shu would not again pose a threat to Sun Quan from that point on. Later that year, when Cao Pi demanded that Sun Quan send his crown prince Sun Dong to the Wei capital at Luoyang as a hostage to guarantee his loyalty, Sun Quan refused and declared independence by changing era name, thus establishing Eastern Wu as an independent state. Cao Pi launched a major attack on Wu, but after Wei defeats in early 223, it became clear that Wu was secure. After Liu Bei's death later that year, Zhuge Jin's brother Zhuge Liang, the regent for Liu Bei's son and successor Liu Shan, re-established the alliance with Sun Quan, and the two states would remain allies until Shu's eventual destruction in 263. I'm going to skip a big paragraph here that's just talking about the Zhang Liao and, a bunch of alliance bullshit. So, in 224 and 225, Cao Pi again made attacks on Wu, but each time Wu forces were able to repel Wei's with fair ease. So easily that Cao Pi made the comment, "Heaven created the Yangtze to divide the north and the south." However, Sun Quan was himself equally unsuccessful in efforts to make major attacks on Wei. After Cao Pi's death in 226, Sun Quan launched an attack on Wei's Jiangxia commandery, but was forced to withdraw as soon as reinforcements arrived. However, later that year he was able to increase effective control over Jiao when his general Liu Dai was able to defeat the warlord Shi Hui and end the effective independence that the Shi clan had. In addition, several independent kingdoms in modern Cambodia, Laos, and southern Vietnam all became Wu vassals as well.
From here, we must move to wipe out Wei completely and march on Hefei. We have a long history with Wei, but this battle shall be our last. The enemy's defenses are strong, but we shall break through them with a two-staged attack. First, we shall take the outer gates, and then meet up with our amphibious force to break through to the castle interior.
So this battle takes place a lot further in the future here, so I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. In 229, Sun Quan declared himself emperor, which almost damaged the alliance with Shu, as many Shu officials saw this as a sign of betrayal of the Han, to which Shu claimed to be the legitimate successor. However, Zhuge Liang opposed ending the alliance and in fact confirmed it with a formal treaty later that year, in which the two states pledged to support each other and divide Wei equally if they could conquer it. Later that year, Sun Quan moved his capital from Wuchang to Jianye, leaving his crown prince Sun Dong assisted by Lu Jun in charge of the western parts of eastern Wu. In 230, however, the first sign of deterioration of Sun Quan's reign occurred. Basically, there are a couple of paragraphs here about how he continuously mismanaged his army and navy in some expeditions, such as trying to go out east and finding the islands of Taiwan and Ryukyu, and when 90% of his forces came back dead, he decided to execute the leaders of those expeditionary forces. He would have another horrible dealing with Gongsun Yuan, as Gongsun Yuan was another warlord that was still free. He appointed Gongsun Yuan the Prince of Yan and granted him the 9 bestowments, and further sent a detachment of 10,000 men by sea north to assist Gongsun Yan in the campaign against Wei, against the advice of nearly every single one of his high-level officials. Once the army arrived, Gongsun Yuan betrayed them, killed Sun Quan's officials, whom Sun had sent to grant the bestowments, and seized their troops. Once that happened, the enraged Sun Quan wanted to personally head north with a fleet to attack Gongsun Yuan, and initially, not even Lu Jun's opposition was able to stop him, although he eventually calmed down and did not follow through. Despite the deterioration of his previous clear thinking, he was still capable of making proper decisions at times. For example, in 235, when, as a sign of contempt, Wei's emperor Cao Rui offered horses to him in exchange for pearls, jade, and tortoise shells, Sun Quan ignored the implicit insult and made the exchange, reasoning that his empire needed horses much more than pearls, jade, and tortoise shells. In 234, when this battle occurs, in coordination with Zhuge Liang's final northern expedition against Wei, Sun Quan personally led a major attack against Wei's border city, Hefei, while having Lu Jun and Zhuge Jin attack Xiangyang, with the strategy of trying to attract Wei relief forces and then attacking them. However, Wei generals correctly saw the situation and simply let Sun Quan siege Hefei. Only after Sun Quan's food supplies ran low did Cao Rui personally arrive with reinforcements and soon withdrew, as did Lu Jun and Zhuge Jin.
According to our scouts, Cao Pi himself is heading up the defenses of the castle. We must not let this opportunity to kill Cao Pi pass us by. This castle at Hefei shall serve as a monument to commemorate the death of Wei.
So this battle takes place at the same time as the Battle of Wujiang Plains about.
Cao Cao. Quite a castle you left behind. Are you still seeking revenge from beyond?
Truly a symbol of the times. But by the end of this battle, it will be reduced to rubble.
Let's go! Prepare to land!
I'm reading the wiki.
Aren't you one of those southern rubes? Shouldn't you be off frolicking in a river somewhere?
Well, you see, our land's getting a little crowded. So I decided to come conquer yours. Cao Cao's ambitions fell along with Hefei Castle. This was all thanks to everybody fighting hard and willing to give their lives in battle. We showed the land the strength of Wu's unity.
But like I said, the siege was lifted when Cao Rui was, Cao Pi's son came to personally arrive with reinforcements.
Having defeated the giant Wei army, there are none left that can stop us. All that remains is to defeat Shu and realize our dreams of unification of the land.
I'll just add this here. In 241, Sun Quan would launch the last major assault against Wei of his reign, in light of Cao Rui's death in 239. But he rejected a strategy offered by Yuan Shao to attack Wei in coordinated effort with Shu on 4 different fronts, and the campaign ended in failure as well.
It was a long, difficult battle, but we have taken the castle at Hefei and delivered a crushing blow to Wei. The long conflict that started at Chibi is at last over. Only Shu stands in our way now, and they are led by Liu Bei's son, Liu Chan, a ruler known far and wide for his foolishness. Before long, all the land will belong to Wu. Father, brother, watch over me in battle, for you will see that your dreams have not died, but are on the verge of becoming reality.
The day to attack Shu has finally come. The Three Kingdoms strategy devised by Master Zhuge Liang shall end in victory for you, my lord. My lord, you must defend our center. Both flanks of our army shall surround the enemy, and when our rear guard comes forward, wipe them out. The battle shall take place at Baidi Castle. The enemy commander is Liu Chan. Unlike his father Liu Bei, he has no ability to rule the land. Now it is time to put an end to Shu and give the land to Wu.
So the thing about this battle is that, we'd have to go back in time a little bit. Because the battle against Hefei happened in 234, whereas the Battle of Baidi Castle, apparently happened in the year 222. I'm trying to find it, but there are no references. I mean, we have to go back like 12 years in history for the Battle of Baidi Castle, which I don't even know if this is a real battle. I can't find any reference to it on Sun Quan's page. And as far as I can tell, there were never any battles between Shu and Wu after the Three Kingdoms were established, so I'm pretty sure this battle is simply fabrication, but let me just continue trying to take a look. This is Commander Liu Bei. There's nothing that comes up. There is no Castle of Baidi Chong. Battle of Baidi Castle takes place in 234 in, let's see, historical information. Okay, so this happens in the year 263. So in history, let me just double check here. Wu army led by Shangman and Bu Jie was sent to capture Badong area in an attempt to make some gains from Shu's former territory. Shu general announced his surrender to Wei, requested reinforcements, and put up a heavy defense at the Yangtze River. So this real battle may have taken place in 263, which is 30 years later after the events of the battle we just had. So I think in terms of the video game, this battle is a complete fabrication just to tie up the story of Wu winning over Shu. But in reality, this happened 30 years later, and let's see, it was just you know, after Shu had formally surrendered to Wei, Wu jumped in and tried to take some of the territory themselves. Even after 6 months, Lu Kang was unable to make any progress. Eventually, Sima Zhao sent Hu Lie to attack Wu's positions in Jing, forcing Lu Kang to retreat. The battle eventually led to the surrender of Wuling Commandery to Wei. So, this, from what I've been able to find, this battle simply does not exist. Like, maybe it happens in Romance of the Three Kingdoms? Because Bai Di Chang is where Liu Bei dies, and that's the only reference I can find to it. So, just in general, I know I've said it before, and I expected to have a little bit of information for it this time, now that we're playing Sun Quan, but this battle simply is not real. It's purely for the video game. And if it is, it's probably a representation for that last battle that I just mentioned that happens in the year 263. So, not really too much else to add about this battle by D Castle.
Get out of my way.
Now the three kingdoms divided by Zhuge Liang shall be as one.
Let's go! This has long been the dream of my family. Today it shall be realized.
My lord, victory is almost ours. It will not be long before you achieve what your brother had always dreamed of.
Why is he
On guy.
talking like that?
Let's win the day, and then drink until morning.
Whatever you say. That sounds mighty good to me.
We captured Bai Di Castle, and killed Liu Chan as well, bringing an end to Shu and its dreams of a land of virtue. Perhaps it was too great of an ideal to be realized. What the people want is to live a life of peace, and the Kingdom of Wu shall be able to give that life to them. We must work hard to create a land that would not be ridiculed by Cao Cao or Liu Bei.
I do believe they do a disservice to Sun Quan, only giving him 5, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense because he wasn't around for some of the earlier battles, but we do skip some of the battles in the middle. Like, we could have started with the battle of Wu territory under Sun Ce while he was still alive. They could have added, you know, the battle, what was it? The one where Liu Bei spurgs out because they killed Guan Yu. Like, they could have added a few more battles.
It was during the final days of the year 200 AD when the Han Dynasty saw its end. Its demise ushered in a new era of chaos, brought on by several regional lords vying to rule China. There were those who sought absolute power, as well as those who fought for justice, and some simply fought for the sake of their beliefs. Many would rise and fall in their attempts to dominate the land. Sun Quan from the Wu territory, second son of Sun Jian and younger brother of Sun Ce. Following the untimely deaths of his father and brother, Sun Quan became the ruler of Wu at the tender age of 19. Although he was not as capable a warrior as his father and brother, He had an extraordinary ability in bringing the people together in his kingdom. Always lending an ear to those around him, he made sure to build a solid foundation for his empire. In 208 AD, the first test of Sun Quan's abilities would reveal itself. Having already taken the Huabei region, Cao Cao had begun marching his mighty army south towards Wu. Refusing to surrender, Sun Quan became allies with Liu Bei and engaged Cao Cao at Chibi. Due to the amazing skills of Zhou Yu and Huang Gai, Sun Quan was somehow able to win the battle against Cao Cao. Time would pass, and the land would be divided between Shu, Wei, and Wu. Eager to fulfill his father and brother's ambitions, he daringly engaged Shu and Wei and prevailed over both. After countless battles, the land was finally at peace. However, the end of the chaos did not signify the end of Sun Quan's efforts. He would continue to build his empire so it may last forever. These tales, long forgotten in the flows of time, are about the legends of which no one can recall.
So after the battle at Hefei, in 238, Gongsun Yuan would be under attack by Wei's general Sima Yi. Sun Quan, despite his prior rage against Gongsun, correctly judged the situation as one where he might be able to take advantage if Sima Yi were initially unsuccessful, so he did not immediately refuse Gongsun's request for help. However, Sima Yi conquered Gongsun Yuan quickly. Sun Quan was never able to take advantage. In 241, Sun Quan would launch the last major assault against Wei of his reign. I already mentioned that one earlier. Later in 241, the crown prince Sun Dong died, an event that left open the issue of succession and appeared to mark the start of a precipitous decline in Sun Quan's mental health. In 242, he appointed his son Sun He, born to consort Wang, crown prince. However, he also favored another son by consort Wang, Sun Ba, and permitted Sun Ba to have the same staffing level as the crown prince, a move that was objected to by a number of officials as encouraging Sun Ba to compete with Sun He, but Sun Quan did not listen to them. After 245, when Sun He and Sun Ba began to have separate residences, their relationship deteriorated further, and Sun Ba began to scheme at how to seize heir status from Sun He. Fanned by gossip from his daughter Sun Lu Ban, Sun Quan blamed Sun He's mother consort Wang for this, and she died in fear. He also cut off Sun He and Sun Ba's access to the officials who supported them in hopes of receiving future favors, but this could not stop Sun Ba's machinations. Indeed, when Lu Jun tried to intervene to protect Sun He, Sun Ba falsely accused him of many crimes, and Sun Quan became provoked so much that he repeatedly rebuked Lu Jun, causing him to die in frustration. In 250, fed up with Sun Ba's constant attacks against Sun He, Sun Quan carried out an inexplicable combination of actions. He forced Sun Ba to commit suicide while deposing Sun He, who had not been shown to have committed any crimes, and instead creating his youngest son, Sun Liang, crown prince, to replace Sun He. This move was opposed by his son-in-law Zhu Ju, the husband of Sun Quan's daughter. But Zhu Ju's pleas not only did not help Sun He, but also resulted in his own death as Sun Quan forced him to commit suicide. Many other officials who also opposed the move, as well as officials who had supported Sun Ba, were executed. Around this time, Sun Quan also had his generals destroy a number of levees near the border with Wei, creating large areas of flooding in order to obstruct potential attacks from Wei. In 251, Sun Quan created the first empress of his reign, Sun Liang's mother consort Pan. Previously, he had a succession of wives, but never made any of them empress, except for his favorite, Lady Bu, who was created empress posthumously after her death in 238. Later that year, however, he realized that Sun He was blameless and wanted to recall him from his exile, but was persuaded not to do so by his daughter Sun Luban and Sun Jun, who had supported Sun Liang's ascension. He realized that he was getting very old, 69 at this point, and at Sun Jun's recommendation, commissioned Zhuge Jin's son, Zhuge Ke, as future regent for Sun Liang, even though he correctly had misgivings about how Zhuge Ke was arrogant and had overly high opinions of his own abilities. At that time, virtually the entire empire, awed by Zhuge's prior military victories, was convinced that Zhuge would be the correct choice for regent. In 252, as Sun Quan neared death, Empress Pan was murdered, but how she was murdered remains a controversy. Wu officials claimed that her servants, unable to stand her temper, strangled her while she was asleep, while a number of historians, including Hu Sanjing, the commentator to Sima Guang's Jishi Tongjian, believed that top Wu officials were complicit, as they feared that she would seize power as Empress Dowager after Sun Quan's death. On 252, Sun Quan died at the age of 70, and Sun Liang succeeded him. Sun Quan was buried in August or September of 252, a mausoleum at the Purple Mountain in Jian. And that concludes the story of Sun Quan. Glorious leader in battle, but made a string of poor decisions that may have secured his own victory for himself, should he have actually followed through with them, and also near the end of his life making a huge comedy of errors that would eventually lead to the collapse of Wu and the Suma family eventually taking control. And now we unlock Sun Ce.
Father, brother, now behold, this entire land now belongs to Wu. A new age awaits us. Now, let us meet it together!
Next up, we'll be getting into Cao Pi, who we saw a lot of in this story. And although his story ends a lot sooner, it does start a little bit earlier.